We're going to keep things rolling here. We're going to talk a little bit about exposure and events. Before we get to some questions we got here for the coaches, there's a lot of stuff out there. Our philosophy at FLG, and for anyone listening, it's important that you choose quality over quantity. If there's an event that comes through your inbox and you want to know what it's about, try to pick up the phone and call one of the directors of that event. And if they don't get back to you, if they don't pick up or get back to you right away, that's a red flag. Or if you go on the website, it's a little funky and there's information from a year or two ago, like that's a red flag. You got to make sure that you know about the event before you just sign up and pay for it. You want to make sure that also you're getting a really a good value for what you're paying here. Like if you're going to go to one event, you're going to travel 250 miles. Make sure that there's more than just one coaching staff there checking you out. I think unless you're going to like a prospect day and you really you want to see the school and you want to play for the coaches, you want to get an experience of what it's like to be a student athlete at that school, a little different. But when we're talking about tournaments and showcases, it's really important that you're going to a quality event where there's good players, there's quality coaches, and and there's more of them. So that's really, really important. And we posted a blog like I think it was 2 weeks ago, and it's something that Bob and I talk about all the time in the office, which is playing the right way. The same way that you would try to play for a high school team that's competing for a state championship. You should play that same way when you're competing in these individual events. And in our blog, we talked about how there's a lot of obstacles, and it's a little easier said than done because there's selfish play at work. There's parents telling kids, hey, do this, score, don't worry about passing. And there's ways to combat that in a way that will make you still look good at the same time. You're still playing the right way. You're still playing hard. You're playing unselfish. You're doing things at your own position that will make you look good. So it's really important that you pick quality events, you play the right way, and still keep an open mind, which you mentioned earlier in the presentation. So moving to our first question, which is kind of talking about the age groups that you recruit when you do go to these events. I think we want to kick this off here with you, Coach Silipo. You want to touch on kind of the age group that you're looking at, and you can get into detail on how you look at specific positions, and guys in that age group as well.
Yeah, so we finished our 17s. They signed their NLIs in November. So what's unique kind of about the Division I process right now is we're recruiting 4 classes at a time, right? So we're recruiting 18s, 19s, 20s, and 21s. So we're starting to generate a list of 21s. We are looking at them and watching them, but we're focused right now on our 19s and our 20s, right? So we're looking at 14 and 15-year-olds. It's crazy. But I think the way the landscape of Division I recruiting, actually at all levels, there's poaching involved. So we lost 3 kids in 6 days that were committed to us for over a year this fall. So right now we're primarily looking at 14 and 15-year-olds. We're looking at all the position groups. As the offensive coordinator, I want 4 to 6 offensive guys that can play for me. In every class. And so we look to get about 8 short sticks, and that's including a face-off guy and 2 to 3 D middies. And some midfielders don't pan out as offensive middies at the next level. So we recruit a lot of attackmen because in my system they can play all over the place. And then defensively, most guys are looking for 3 to 4 defensemen. 1 pure close guy, 1 guy who can play LSM, and then 2 guys who can be hybrids, where they can push transition or they can play LSM if they're not comfortable around the crease, or vice versa, someone who's not comfortable up top and you can put them down and use those angles around the crease. So it really depends on the team. We like to get up and down and play in transition and both offensively and defensively and play fast. So we're looking for athletes and the stick skills and that stuff take care of themselves as you continue to develop and work on them. Athleticism is the hardest thing to coach, and it's nearly impossible to coach, right? So for all of that being said, that's kind of where we're at and what we do, and it's unfortunate that we have to, recruit and commit 14 to 15-year-olds, but that's the nature of the business right now, and hopefully one day it'll change.
All right, cool. Now, we talk about playing the right way and going to good events is a nice way to get noticed. Coach Sage, question for you, what are some other ways that some student athletes can get noticed, maybe something that you've experienced over the last few years that seem to work, or, even feel free to talk about some of the don'ts that you've noticed that players do to get noticed, maybe in a negative light. But more importantly, what are some things that players maybe can do to get looks from college coaches as they go to these events throughout the seasons?
Sure. Looking at your question, one of them asked if it's showcases or tournaments. I think college coach is going to go to everything. I think it's good to do a little, if you can, do some individual showcases, and then with your club and your high school teams, it's good to do a little bit of everything if you can mix it up. The things that translate, I think coaches, whether they're watching individual showcases or club or high school team tournaments, putting your nose down for a ground ball, that doesn't change, whether it's an individual or team showcase. The athleticism is something we're always looking for. The don'ts, I think when you see guys that are, walking back on defense or, palms up to the ref for their coaches, those things don't translate for Division 1, 2, or 3 coaches. So, I love guys off the wings that are grabbing ground balls. We had a guy that wants to walk on next year as a senior right now, and he had 100 ground balls for high school out in Long Island, and that interests me. 100 ground balls off the wing is we could probably find room for him. He's a football lacrosse guy. He's a late bloomer. That's what we're kind of looking for at where we are, Division 3. So all those things that they translate no matter what type of event you're at. Putting your nose down, athleticism, ground balls, those basics. Everyone loves those, and the walking around and the palms up, no one likes those. No matter what level you are. So no matter what level you're playing at. So I think those are things that you can mix it up and play a little bit of everything. Individuals, prospect days, and team tournaments.
Great. There's been some debate. I'm sure you guys have seen on the internet of, is it a negative now for a player to be a 3-sport athlete or even sometimes a 4-sport athlete in high school because, for example, maybe they're missing out on a bunch of fall team events, and getting in front of coaches, or maybe, they're not as skilled as players that are, kind of playing lacrosse all year round or just mostly playing lacrosse and maybe doing one other sport. Coach Morgan, in your opinion, do you feel as though, the 3-sport athlete is hurting a player, or is that something that you guys actually really like still?
I mean, in a perfect world, I love it. I mean, I was a 3-sport athlete in high school, and what I learned in, basketball and soccer and everything that kind of comes with playing different sports, it's just different athleticism. It's a different leadership, skill set, hand-eye coordination, everything that comes with it. I love it just from a personality standpoint. I mean, we love recruiting high school quarterbacks, and that's one of the things we love because we know they're going to come with a toughness, a mental toughness, and physical and leadership ability. The issue is exactly what you mentioned, Corey. It's now, you say you want that, but then how is that student athlete going to get to that tournament in the fall if he has a football game? Or how is he going to get to that tournament in the winter? Or, is he behind when he gets to the spring because he's been playing basketball? So I get it. I think the one thing that when I've been asked from, family, friends, and people that have asked me that question is, I think you stay with, 3 or 2 as long as you can. And then when you get to a point where you realize that lacrosse's direction where you're going in college, you might have to shift and maybe play 1 or 2, But I think, if you realize that lacrosse is your future and it's going to carry you to where you want to go academically and athletically, I think it's a tough decision. But I think, certainly not being specialized a lacrosse kid in 8th grade or 9th grade is just too early. I think if you want to play those sports, it's going to be a benefit for you later. But you'll get to a point where you're going to realize that, maybe some of those doors are closing because you're not putting your full effort or focus into lacrosse. So it's a tough decision. It puts these guys in a really tough spot because on one hand, I think it's great, and on the other hand, it does limit them in some areas of, recruiting.
You guys, in your coaching experiences, it could be, at any level or whatever school you guys at, did you ever deal with an athlete that kind of came into your program who had specialized in lacrosse from really early on, and by the time maybe they were, sophomore, junior, senior, they were just kind of, the fire wasn't there anymore, they just weren't as into it, and unfortunately, what might have seemed like a success story when this kid was in 8th, 9th grade, a little too much pressure to play one sport, in fact, didn't really work out for them?
We actually, just a quick story, we had a kid who was committed to us in a 17 class. He committed as a sophomore, and I thought he was one of the top goalies on Long Island. And he called us one day in June and was like, this was the past June. He said, Coach, I'm just not going to play lacrosse in college. And he was a really good kid, good student, great family, everything came with it, and he was I think it would have been a 3-year starter for us, maybe even 4. And his reasoning was just, I think he was burnt out from the sport. He didn't play any other sports. He played year round. He didn't play for FLG. He played for another club team. But that's one of the things that I caution a lot of the club guys is like, yeah, it's great to have him playing in the fall and summer and then the winter leagues and stuff. But if it's too much, sometimes those kids lose that desire after they aren't playing other sports and having a different scenery. It's the same thing for years, and I never thought it'd be possible if you could play at that level to then just turn it down to go to not play in college, just go to regular school. But I've seen it. It's only happened the last probably handful of years I've actually seen that, but it's common.
One thing too, Coach Sage, I want to cover as it relates to this. We talked a lot about athleticism and skill, and Coach Silipo even got into specifics of what he looks for in each position. From intangible perspective, you talk about the grit factor, guys just wanting to pick up a ground ball more than the guy next to him, or maybe the intangible asset of just work ethic. How do you kind of measure those, and how do you look for those attributes in athletes as you recruit them?
It's a good question. I think that's something to continue with the two-sport, three-sport athlete. I think Silipo mentioned it, or Coach Silipo mentioned it earlier. I think if you ask most college coaches, they'd love to see their recruits playing multiple sports in high school. I think it changes when they get to college because you want a full year commitment probably from your athletes in college. But to have a football lacrosse guy or soccer lacrosse guy is awesome. We'd ask most college coaches would say yes. It's funny because a lot of club folks want their kids to be playing year-round at the high school. So they're trying to. You're hearing probably a conflicting message, from the college coaches saying play multiple sports, and some of these club programs or some of their high school coaches are telling them just play one sport in high school. So we love, at the Division III level, we love those two-sport athletes because we think some of their best lacrosse is in front of them. Because when they get to Division III and they haven't played year-round, there's more potential to pop at the Division III level. Because all of a sudden they're playing fall ball for the first time in their life. They're playing lacrosse in the fall because they've been playing soccer or football or cross country, and then all of a sudden they're lifting, all winter and hitting the wall all winter, and all of a sudden that freshman sophomore year there's a little more pop in them. So when we're recruiting guys, we're looking for guys that have, we tell guys, if we believe our program, our best lacrosse is still in front of us, and we're trying to recruit guys that still have a lot of great lacrosse in front of them, and they haven't maxed out or plateaued yet. So I think that's a little different for us because we're a little later in the process. But like Coach Morgan said, if I get a quarterback or a cornerback that can, throw the ball or cover the ball, or a point guard that can see the floor, that's only going to translate to great things on the lacrosse field. So we really like those two-sport athletes, and we think if you can get two sports done in high school, you'll be able to balance it a little bit better, in college. So you've been able to kind of max out yourself at the high school level, so you're able to do that at the college level when you got a lot of things going on at the same time. So I think Coach Silipo has a lot. He probably feels the same way. More sports at the high school level.
I'm right with Coach there. I mean, in my opinion, Patrick Spencer's the best offensive player in the country, and the kid at Loyola, and he was a starting point guard for his high school team. And when you watch him play, he plays like a point guard. Whether he's at X or he's up top, and he wouldn't have developed those skills within his lacrosse game if he didn't play what he was playing in basketball. And then kind of my other side story to go on again what Sager was saying, we had one of our recruits, one of our commits was, hoping to play Division I football, and that's FBS, and that's not Alabama, but we're talking UNH and UMaine and Ivy Leagues, and they recruit through the senior year, and basically he fell off all their board, and we were really, really excited about him because he's an awesome athlete who works extremely hard, both on and off the field, and now he gets the opportunity to just focus on lacrosse for 12 months out of the year. So his development, in our eyes, is going to be, light years ahead of some other guys who have just been playing lacrosse their entire life. And it's going to be much fresher to him, and he's going to have, I think, a bigger drive than some of those guys who just specialize in one sport, because now he's going to be developing skills he never even dreamed about because of what he was doing.